Hello, my loves. Today we are going to be continuing to talk about the whole bunch of new makeup that I have from Sephora. We're going to have some definitive reviews on some products that have been in high demand. So, complexion-wise, I think this is going to be all that we use, but I'm not going to promise that. I have a new shade in the shade expansion of the Creal concealer foundation. It's sort of just a complexion product. Initially I criticized this release because the shade range was so small, so I was excited when there was an expansion. I'm gonna swatch these next to each other and I'll give you my take on it, and obviously I'm going to put it on my face. I have two of the new HAUS Labs contour sticks. These are the Precision Sculpt Shaping Balm. I got the shades Angle and Profile. We're gonna swatch both of them. I'm going to apply probably one of them. I have the new Ciele Blushes. These are the new powder blushes. Ciele is a brand that I love because they put sunscreen in everything, and this is no exception. So these are the Flush and Protect SPF 45 blush. We'll swatch them. I'm gonna try and apply as many of them as I can. And I have what I think is the entire range here of the new Violette FR lip product. This is the Plume Lip Feather Matte Lip Whip. These are really interesting. Again, this is gonna be kind of a swatch party day. It's a rare occasion where I have entire lines, or at least multiple shades to be able to compare for usefulness. So it'll be swatches, it'll be application, it'll be discussion, it'll be final thoughts. So let's go ahead and jump in. On my eyes, this isn't from Sephora, but I think I want to, look at my hair, it's just steadily frizzing. I want to use one of these. These are two of the three eyeshadow palettes that I was sent from VIEVE Beauty. So it depends whether we end up going in more of a mauve direction, we would use the Muse palette, or if we end up just kind of going towards more of my like warmth comfort zone, in which case we would use the Essential palette. Then there's also the 90s palette, which is like super duper cool toned, but I'm not gonna use that. So many people in my comments are like, come on Khaki, do a cool toned eye look. I have to do a whole cool toned makeup look to pull off a cool toned eye look, and that's just not the direction we're going in today. So I have skin prepped. My hair is already driving me nuts, so let's go ahead and pull it back. Perfect, perfect, right? Okay, let's start with some swatches of the Creal Face Flex Concealer and Complexion Enhancer. This comes in glass if you're unfamiliar with it. It's pretty expensive. I think it's like almost $60. It's kind of wild. So I have bought two of these, and then one of them they sent me. So here we have 0.5. I think people were hoping for something more desaturated than that. It's lighter for sure, but it is definitely still bright. You know, like it's just a bright color, which is fine. Then we have shade 1. Shade 1, my main complaint, yes, it's pretty desaturated, but it's pink. It's so pink, which is fine for concealer. On me, I can get away with a lot with a concealer, especially because, you know, we talk about color correctors being like rosy or peachy or whatever all the time. But when we're talking about something that does kind of claim to lend itself to a lot of different coverage levels and could go to a foundation kind of thing, I want a better match than that. And then they sent me, like I said, shade 2, and shade 2 is quite olive, erring actually on the side of being a little too dark on me. And okay, so interestingly, like that's Natasha Denona N1, and it is far more similar to shade 1, but it is slightly lighter and a little less pink. Either way, I think that again, I needed this in terms of lightness, but I wish that it would have maintained a grungier undertone. It's just so bright. Like, I'm not saying that's no one's skin tone. I just think that there were a lot of people with that kind of mother of pearl undertone that's, you know, kind of translucent, and things tend to be exaggeratedly bright on them, even in like the fairest tones of a complexion product. A lot of people were hoping to be included by this range, and it still doesn't include them. So I am not sure, honestly, that 1 isn't still my best shade, so I might use both. So here we have 0.5. We'll see how it goes. I have, what do I have on? Oh, I have my Tatcha. I have the dewy cream and also the sunscreen from Tatcha. Do you see? It's like, it's actually kind of a little too, it's kind of a little too light, isn't it? I don't know, let's see. Let's just let it blend out. I've worn it before. It seemed fine the last time I wore it. My pigmentation is definitely, that looks really nice actually. My pigmentation has been really exaggerated lately. I've just been spending more time in the sun, kind of by preference for my like mental health. And even though I wear sunscreen, heat and all of it, just exposure in general, makes my freckles and my melasma and stuff like that come out. Anyway, I'm not mad at it. First of all, I love the formula. I love this formula. Like, it took me a minute to really warm up to it because I was like, what's the big deal? And then like you wear it enough times, and honestly, talking to y'all in my comments, everyone's such a huge fan of this that I was like, okay, just because I don't necessarily have like the challenges under my eyes and stuff like that this caters to best doesn't mean that it's not a phenomenal product for people who do, kind of thing. And for all those things, I still see this really lovely, like smoothing, long wearing, I don't have to powder it kind of benefit. And I think that that color is good for someone. I do. I think that like there are a lot of people again who are hoping to be included who still weren't included by this, but you can see it's like a little too light even for me. It's like a brightening shade even for me. So maybe that's news you can use. Like, it's a winter shade for me. It's a nice brightening shade for me. It doesn't give me any kind of line of demarcation, which is nice. And I'm actually gonna go in with shade 1 for the rest of things, you know, like give me a little coverage here and there. I think that shade 1, disappointingly, is still the better match for me, even though she's pretty rosy. I hope that I don't come off too critical about this. It's very, very beautiful. It really is. I just also bear in mind the price of it. The price is pretty high, and I just want to be mindful of what I recommend to people, you know, because $60 is still $60 freaking dollars. But my goodness, that's beautiful. So if this is my first video that you're watching and you haven't seen me review this before, I am kind of treating it like a part 2 of like a previous review instead of telling you like what it is that we're actually dealing with. So it has the most beautiful finish to it. I feel like the coverage level, the finish, everything, it's so natural looking. A lot of these complexion products say that they're natural finish, like this is actually natural finish. It doesn't have any sheen to it. It doesn't have like a ton of luminosity added to it, maybe a little bit, but it's also not drying, oil controlling, mattifying, any of that. I think one of my favorite things about this formula is how locked in it feels. We talked in my last video about the new Natasha Denona. Yeah, I'm gonna use my Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealing Pencil here. So one of the things that I got in my comments talking about the Natasha Denona was just people saying that in her introduction of the product, she said that it took 15 minutes to dry down. First of all, I think that that's unreasonable. You can say as a creator of a product, this is how this works, and still, I'm sorry. In fact, I'm not sorry. If someone doesn't go and watch your video on how to use your product, because most people aren't going to, your product shouldn't then be unreasonably frustrating just because someone, again, didn't go and watch your presentation. That is not, even though I feel like it's become kind of more of the culture here in this specific space on YouTube and online talking about makeup, it's still the exception, not the rule, that anyone even follows the makeup artists who make their makeup on social media. You shouldn't need to know that Natasha Denona wants you to expect to wait 15 minutes for her foundation to set down. You shouldn't need to know that when you buy it. And people coming to my comments to almost discredit me by saying that like I shouldn't have known that that's how long it takes. Who cares if I know or if I don't know? I figured it out pretty quickly. In fact, it took a lot longer than 15 minutes. It took almost an hour. That is not your responsibility as the user of the makeup, and it's also not my responsibility as the user of the makeup. My responsibility is not to be a fangirl of the brand or of the makeup artist, of the brand owner. It is not my responsibility to deliver the message that goes along with the product. You shouldn't have to have instructions to know how to use a product that you buy at Sephora. It should be self-explanatory. A foundation should behave like a foundation. So next we have these new HAUS Labs contours. Let me swatch them for you. My Pokemans, let me show you them. Okay, so I did buy 2 shades, and they are not shades that are adjacent to one another in the range. I really did try to go based on undertones that I thought would work on me. And I was pretty wrong. in one case. So profile, wow, that's gray. I'm gonna pull out the contour from the Sephora collection here in a second because that's my grayest, coolest one. And then also the ABH one in halftone, and then Dior, because those are like the three that I feel like are kind of landmarks in terms of like what I like, what I use, what you might be familiar with. But yeah, profile is great. We love to see it. It's also a lovely formula, okay? Rarely, so rarely, do you see me apply something straight to my face and then blend it. Mainly because it's a very high likelihood that I'm going to forget to blend a spot, usually right here. And then I end up with like this little labret, this little flavor saver for like the whole video, and it's incredibly distracting. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that, but you can. And then I got the shade Angle. Angle is the one for me. It's so pretty. It doesn't mean it's the only one that I can use, but out of the two that I bought, it's the one that works for me. So here is my Dior contour. This is what I use the most because it makes me look sexy, okay? Like, I put this on and I'm like, that's a hot girl. It's a hot girl contour on me. That Dior shade is quite similar to that, which means that I can use it basically as a bronzer the way that I use my Dior. Then we have, hello, Halftone from ABH. This is a completely different kind of formula. It is really blendy, 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 like blend all the way. Much like you would expect from an eyeshadow from ABH. This is one of the prettiest colors ever, and it's super subtle on me, but I love it. So you can see it's a very similar undertone to the Dior, but it's lighter, it's less saturated, and it's just sheerer. It's just a different kind of formula, but just nowhere in the territory of profile in terms of grayness. And then we have Fair to Light Stick Contour from Sephora collection. This is one of the grayest contours. Oh, wow. Yeah, those are really similar. And someone has told me that they use this contour from Sephora as a bronzer. And I'm always like, haha, yeah, whatever, fat chance. And then you see it next to this one from HAUS Labs and you're like, nah, I could see that. It kind of looks like a bronzer now. It looks like it's got, like, I could never with my eyes before detect any warmth to that. Now I can because profile is so gray. Fun! I love this kind of stuff. So you can see why I wouldn't be using that. So what I think I will do is at least like top of my face, I will do it like and show you that it'll blend, and then we'll go in and not do that for the rest of my face. Mainly, again, not just because I tend to forget to blend things, but also I end up with too much on when I do stuff like this, but we will do that because I just want to show you that this does that. Why did I do that and then that? I'm an Aries, I don't know. I'm going to use the Sigma Soft Coverage F48 brush here, and I'm just gonna push that into my hairline. Done, just kidding. It really doesn't take much at all. And it is so similar to the shade of my Dior that I do feel really comfortable just kind of letting it, you know, blend down into my forehead a little bit more because it doesn't look like a gray contour. So there's that. That's gonna be up into my hairline, but I do want more. I want more. I want more. Demonetized. So yes, there's that. I can use it like a bronzer. It's so pretty. I think that that is me literally just beating the heck out of myself, and so it's turning red, like my skin's turning red. I don't think that that's actually the product. Let's keep going. Boop, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop, boop. It is a really gorgeous formula, I will say, and this is the highest compliment that I could give it. It reminds me a lot of the Dior. So it's like if the Dior came in a lot more shades. It has more of a matte texture to it though than that. Like the Dior stays a little creamier, a little glowier on the skin, but like you can see, the Dior has a little more sheen to it, and then the HAUS Labs does go down to more of like a mattified powder, which might make it long wearing. It makes me prefer the Dior. It makes me prefer the Dior. I like a little bit more sheen. Makes my skin look healthy. I also like, since I'm not drawing this directly onto my face, I like the big chunky stick on the Dior because I like to be able to like get more on the brush more evenly with less effort. I mean, I will apply a little bit of profile just to show you, but it's like, it's pretty muddy on me. See? See that gray right there? I don't know if you can see that gray right there. That doesn't mean that it's a bad contour shade necessarily. It's just gonna be more challenging. The further you get away from your natural undertone and your natural skin tone, like level, the harder something is gonna be to work with, period. It's just contrast. See? I can like make it work, but it's not easy. And I'm looking a little muddy, looking a little like the High Sparrow. That's why we play the game. I just want to be able to show it to y'all. It doesn't need to be perfect. I don't need to end up with a perfect face of makeup in order to, you know, show y'all something. So yeah, this bad boy comes in 9 shades and it's $30. And for that, you get 3.5 grams. This is $50 and you get 10 grams. That's $5 a gram. 3.5 grams for $30. That's $8.57 a gram. So even though the Duo Stick is $50, so it is a bigger commitment in terms of just buying one, it's still less expensive pound for pound, and it's more concentrated too. You don't have to use as much. I use this almost every day. Like, that's how much I've decreased it. Like, it's gonna go on forever and ever and ever. 10 grams of product is a lot of product. It's like $1.43 per gram cheaper than the Haus Labs, but the Haus Labs has a lot more shades. Okay, let's actually, I'm gonna take and just sort of even out the complexion a little bit more so that we can see the blush better when it goes on. I'm going a little ham sandwich. Let me swatch these blushes for you real quick and then we'll kind of strategize. All right, I kind of inadvertently arranged them warm to cool, so that's nice. So the first one here is the one that we applied in my last video. So that's Crush. It's a nice peach, but like online, they all look brighter than they are. Like, they're a little more demurred, a little bit less saturated in person for the most part. And also, I just think that this is interesting because it's like through the lid, the green makes them all look crazy. Like, that is not anywhere near that color because the green obscures the color so much. It's hard to know what you're looking at, but it says it on the bottom. So like each sticker is the color of the actual blush inside. So that's really helpful. That was Crush. The next one here is Cozy. Cozy is gonna be your kind of like warm beige, but the closest to like a skin tone for me kind of thing. Then we have Ruddy, which I haven't used yet, but it's the one that I'm like the most excited about. I saw it online and I was like, oh yeah, the fact that they even had the nerve to call it Ruddy. Not that that requires nerve, I just mean like that's what I'm looking for is ruddy cheeks a lot of times, and I'm just like, I hope this helps me achieve it. That sounds nice. Then we have Blaze, which is freaking gorgeous. Holy cannoli. Look, just look. Look at that kind of like plummy, yummy color. It's really nice. These build really slowly. So even though that's a really plummy color, I find that I can layer it on top of other things and get something really nice out of it, even on my skin tone. Then we have Shy right here. It's like just sort of a neutral pink. From the back of the label, it looks like it's gonna be more mauve, but I definitely think that that's just like neutral. Then we have Rush, which I think online, again, it looks like really, really bright, and it is pretty bright. It is, but like it's still got opacity to it that isn't, it's not like glowing off the skin. It's not like the new Kosas, what are they called? Like Extra Bite or whatever. Like those are really, really fluorescent. Even though these look a little bit fluorescent online, they're not. And then we have Chill. And Chill is gonna be such a beautiful, like cool toned, like lavender lilac. So that lavender lilac, that's gonna be just so beautiful on olive undertones, you know, because that's just a color that works great on you. So I can wear it too, but I don't know if that's the mood we're in today. But like you can see, I like getting away with that color because like my lips are kind of that color. So the design that I had in mind for this was to use Ruddy, because I'm just like really excited about it. And I think that like Cozy goes really beautifully with that. I don't know, we'll see after that, but let's do that first. I'm gonna go in with a big brush here. Not the biggest brush, but a big blush brush. We have here a 104 from BK, and that's what I'm gonna start with. We're gonna start with Cozy. Again, this is like pretty close to like a nude on me. So it's almost like a bronzer because that's what I need more of right now. Come on, khaki. Yeah, that's almost like a bronzer. Just like a nice neutral bronzer color that has like maybe a touch of warmth to it. It was like un poquito. Okay, so Ruddy, here we go, Ruddy. I'm gonna use this lovely Rare Beauty brush. This is just their blush brush. Kind of their blush brush 2.0. The first one was real spiky. Looked the same, but was horribly uncomfortable. So, ready. I have yet to try this on my face. Let's see how it goes. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, sunburn. We love to see it. Okay, I do have something I need to disclose about this formula. Someone who knows more than I do about, I love it so much. It's really giving sunburn. Someone who knows more about formulation and chemical reactions than I do, please explain in the comments and I will try and find it and pin the comment. But you can apply all of this that you want. But as soon as you hit it with like a glycerin-based setting mist, girl, 5 minutes from now, it's gonna be gone. Why? I understand the glycerin melts makeup, but like, why would this one react worse than other powder blushes? Maybe it's the sunscreen ingredient, whatever, but like, I applied this the other day, used a setting mist, and I looked at myself like, I don't know, an hour later, and I was like, my blush is gone. Like, gone, gone. And when I applied it again over the setting mist, it stayed all day. So, I need answers. I don't understand why that would be, but my good God, that is just the prettiest color. That is just the prettiest color ever. I do not want to stop. Ready? I'm a big fan of that. Wow. Can't stop, won't stop. Why would I? Do a little bit of that. Yeah, no, Ready's the one for me. For me. It's exactly what I was hoping for. Nikki has a really, really good sense of color and she's adventurous and I love that about her. They do have a little tiny bit of sheen to them, but they are just a finely milled powder. They're not like a putty or anything like that. A lot of these things that are coming out right now are very like, you know, hybrid or whatever. It's a very beautiful powder formula. It doesn't feel like the Ilia ones, for example, that there's almost that like stiffness to them. They're really soft. They're really nice, but they are not, in fact, any kind of cream. That's cute. I love that. Now, I don't know. Maybe, I have an idea. I have an idea. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to cover one side of my face and I'm going to only spray one side with my Pat McGrath setting mist and see if over the course of the rest of the video, this fades or if I was losing my mind the other day. Very scientific. What can I say? I'm a scientist. But yeah, I mean, Wayne Goss did an entire video about, he's just like, you know, he was like angry about it. He's like, everybody thinks that, you know, setting mist do X, Y, Z and the other. He's like, oh yeah, it literally dissolves your makeup. It's like, yeah, Wayne, that's the point. Everybody at a time was wearing so much powder that like we pretty much like built in the fact that like it was going to dissolve our makeup. We're like, it's okay, I put on extra. So now it's a little bit more surprising because I think that a lot of people are like, well, where did my makeup go? But that's what glycerin does, is it just kind of like melts everything. That's why it's so lovely. So you can also see the difference, just that the Pat McGrath setting mist makes. It's so pretty. But yeah, there's a pretty good chance that we're just gonna watch all that blush disappear over the course of the rest of the video. Okay, the things that we have left to use are just the Violette lips, I believe. So we are going to do one absolute heck of an eye look here because these babies are not messing around. They are full color and we need an eye look that'll stand up to it. Does my outfit stand up to it? Not really. Is it her? It might be her. Or is it her? Ooh. I think that it's this one, and that's gonna give us more options in terms of what I can use on my lips too, because I don't want to get like too like mauve territory and then like be limited in what I can show you on my lips. Okay, now these are, I mean, as you can tell, really generous. They're so beautiful. I love the size of them. I mean, it just feels kind of like an old school makeup lovers type palette, you know? You're just like, I just want to stick that in there. So I'm gonna start with Delicious. Beep, beep. I wish I could say everything in JB Genevieve's accent, but it is one of the most difficult accents to mimic. Yeah, her accent is dynamite. It's so awesome. I also just watched a, I hope I'm not offending anybody talking about that. It's just like, I'm in admiration always of different accents and stuff. I think it's really cool. But I was watching Sad Boys because I love Sad Boys. I love Jarvis Johnson. He's from Florida. I want to be his friend so bad. He's from Gainesville. I'm from Tallahassee. I'm just like, I know your town. Like my good friend and my mom's good friend, like went to school with him, like growing up and stuff like that. And I'm just like, make him my friend. I just think that we would get along. I like all his hyperfixations. He's a silly boy. I also love Jordan Adika. I think he's a freaking British delight. And then the other day I was watching their episode where they had Jacksepticeye, Sean, whatever his last name is, on as their guest, and I have never seen, because it's usually the other way around, I have never seen Jarvis get so steamrolled by the two other people on the show.
What are you doing in my gaff?
What are you doing around my end?
Your missus know you're here.
What's a gaff?
Because Jacksepticeye is Irish, but he lives in the UK with his girlfriend, Gab, whose name is not Gab, it's Evelyn. But either way, we watch Gab pretty religiously in this household because obviously they're both gamers. I love Jacksepticeye. I love Sean, like, as a human being, as he shows up, like, on social media and stuff like that. His content is unwatchable. He just screams the entire time. Like, I know, pot, kettle, black, but regardless, you know, it's just a little bit much. Whereas, like, Gab is just vibes. Like, she is just so awesome, and she loves to play Zelda. I mean, she just likes to play all the games that my kid wants to watch, and she's just so chill. She's so wonderful. So I love the two of them. And if you haven't watched that episode of Sad Boys, I highly recommend. Well, I mean, you'd have to be kind of a video game nerd to care. They talk a lot. I mean, obviously it's Jacksepticeye. They're talking about video games most of the time, but like, I do really enjoy listening to that kind of stuff. So am I, if you're new here, a huge gamer? No, I love watching people play video games. My kid is really into video games, and my best friend when I was growing up was really into video games, and I never really enjoyed the playing of it. I find it to be too much pressure, but I love watching people play video games. Like, I have the ones that I like, you know what I mean? I like kind of more fantasy based, but I love watching basically like a never-ending movie where I never know what's gonna happen, but it's like all within a certain level of reason. You know, I'm like, I know we are in the Zelda universe and it is going towards a certain end. Like, we're gonna fight Ganondorf at the end at some point, but you can kind of drag it out as long as you want. Have I ever finished a Zelda game? No. I made it to the very, very last boss in Ocarina of Time and gave up. I realized that, like, I'm just not a competitive person, and like, I can sleep at night without finishing a video game. I can just wander around Hyrule forever and be perfectly content. I'm just like, oh, not another laser. You know what I mean? Get those guardians off of me. I'm just trying to vibe. I don't need to Lionel up in here. I was just looking at the grass. Either way, I have a lot of admiration for the people who do get really good at video games. My kid is astoundingly good at video games. All right, I'm going to use Lava Rock here, a smaller brush. All that, just talking about Jamie's accent. But no, I mean, she's just a mesmerizing human. I started watching, even though we all know how it ends because that's the name of the show, but it's called it's like the Pop Star Contest, whatever it is, where they create Cat's Eye, because I mean, gang, like, who doesn't love them? Yeah, I started watching that show, and it's so interesting to me how they talk about like the different reasons that certain members of a band are appealing, or a girl group. The reason that they find them appealing, some of them have really great vocals, some of them are really well-trained dancers, some of them just have star power. And I was like, huh, like, they can just kind of figure it out past that. Like, if the person just has this kind of inborn X factor. I just find all of that very fascinating. I also find it fascinating how willing they are to put so much time and energy into these people to get them up to performance ability. And like, it's like, dang, wish I could have gone into that camp. I can't dance, but I can sing. Get those muscles hot. But then I think about, it's like me and my mom, we're like, I'm not a joiner. I'd get there and I'd be like, this is nice and everything, but we're all going to end up fighting by the end of this. I'm just not a person who like fits in well over time with like groups of people. I just don't. Not a team player. That was always the review that I got at work. You're not a team player. I'm like, I know. All right, come on, Thea. There we go. Bronzy, gold, brown, gorgeousness. Goes really nicely with Does it go really nicely? I don't know, we'll figure it out. In my mind, it went really nicely with what I'm wearing, but we might have to layer something. That's nice though. These formulas are really intuitive, easy to use. They're definitely still like modern formulas. You know, they're not like trying to be YSL or Chanel or something, but they're not as like kind of overwhelming as some like indie shadows can be. Okay, going in with So Shy right here. Gonna blend a little bit of glimmer. Nice. And then a little bit of Carrot. It's just kind of more gold. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. I feel like something needs to kind of pull that together in terms of like the gold versus the like brown that's happening. So I'm going to pull Buff here and work it sort of like here-ish. Make more of a yellow tone to some of the eye look so that it doesn't look so contrasty. There we go. And then, I mean, like I said, we're going a little over the top here because again, those lips are gonna be wild. I found some Wayne Goss brushes. I'm like really excited about that. I miss these little guys. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of Goodnight. Goodnight. And put that into the outer corner here. Wow, I haven't used these brushes in a while. Actually, not sure I'm a fan. Okay, here we go. That's better. Huh. Well, good, because you can't buy them anyway. Is this like a just add more type situation here? Just keep adding more, right? Maybe not. All right, that's looking absolutely wild. I'm gonna grab some of Cozy, which is like red. So, you know, pray for me. Okay, so let's take a little bit of powder from my Kosas powder, and I will just use that to like clean up around the edges a little bit. I think this is a case of get some eyeliner and mascara on, and we will all just suspend our judgment. Not the greatest blend in the world, but that's because I didn't plan very well. Oh, okay, look, it's going away. And this one is staying, right? I think it's gonna get more and more exaggerated as we go. I'm gonna do eyeliner, mascara, and brows. It's gonna be a vibe, okay? It's just gonna be a look. This is begging for a lip product. Second of all, do we see like the fading happening here? Like everything is just kind of like, wah. Fascinating. Let's fix that real quick. I'm gonna put some more blush on here. I'm gonna start back in with Cozy, which was where we began, and just get a little more. Like, does it only dissolve the powder? Because there's not that much powder on my skin. But yeah, I mean, now it's like bringing the blush back up to where it was before. How interesting. So good to know, news you can use, right? Because there was criticism for the old Ciele blushes that even though they're beautiful, they just didn't really stick around. And I was like afraid that that was the case with these two. I was like, why would that be the case? They're two completely different formulas. But in this case, it was because the setting mist did it. This is truly a full beat. So I'm kind of going all the extra miles here. I'm gonna do a little bit of the Victoria Beckham bronzing brick here. Get a nice even smoothness. We will not be using a setting mist. Let's swatch these Plume lips from Violette and see exactly how much trouble I'm going to be getting myself into today. All right, so I have all 5 shades here. This bright red is called Enfant. That's probably wrong. My French is terrible. This shade right here, it's kind of a like ruddy color, is called Mon Chéri. Then we have Rose Fumé. Then we have, oh boy. Unfortunately, I think this is the one I'm gonna be trying. This one is called, Lord in heaven, Châtain Grillé? And that's that brown pretty one right there. And then the one that is a little bit more like wine colored right there is called Syrah Fumé, like Syrah. But I ain't a French oral, I'm an English oral, so ask me in English.
Laurent, s'il vous plaît, quel âge avez-vous?
I don't know, ask me in English.
Anyway, I don't know why I'm like this. Okay, let me read the description of these two y'all so that you get an idea. They don't really, I didn't experience them like staining my lips, but at the same time, like 4 of them kind of stained my hand. The top middle one didn't. What it is, mistake proof, ha ha, Violette thinks that about everything, okay? Her face is mistake proof, okay? She looks good when things are messy. She looks good when you apply things in a little hand compact mirror in a cafe, okay? She's just that effortless person. There are people like me who have to get things exact, okay? And nothing is mistake proof. Just looked like a raving lunatic there for a second. Feather Matte Hydrating Liquid Lipstick with a whip-like texture for weightless comfort and an ultra blurred medium coverage finish. I don't know. Again, I don't know why I'm like this, y'all. $31 comes in the 5 shades that I just showed you. And I just love her I just love her packaging. I love the decision on this, you know, blue azure de Mediterranean kind of situation. I think that the color we're gonna be going with today is Châtain Grillé. Lauren.
Regardez mon visage.
Comment?
Regardez mon visage.
Lauren.
Regardez mon visage. Est-ce que mon visage bavette?
Non, mais...
Non, parce que je ne suis pas bavette.
So my experience with these so far is that they are kind of punishing. The thing with them is you think that you're gonna put them on and they're going to be whipped and you're going to be able to spread them around. Nay, nay, nay! Nay, my friend. You kind of gotta get them on and like with the applicator all at once. I'll just show you, okay? Now, if I want to do that and then continue spreading it, you can see there's like more there where I initially placed it, and then it doesn't really want to go the other places quite as much. See, now it's done. It's dry. I'd be looking like Queen Amidala. Never even seen that movie. But that's how we're going to be a little more deliberate here. And freaking fast. Okay. It's fairly low stakes. It does give you some wiggle room, but it's not what you expect. It's gonna do other things. Like, it doesn't want to go on all evenly, all at once, right away. You know, it like catches in spots, and it'll make you kind of paranoid because I don't want to wear it super, super high coverage. I want to wear it kind of blotted, but it doesn't blot evenly. Do you see that? It builds and gathers. And like, I don't know if I'm moving the product around or if I'm moving kind of this like surface level hydration around. I feel like I'm just kind of pissing my lips off. I feel like we did it. You have time to work. It is pretty. It's just like different. It's just different than you think it's gonna be. It's a weird texture. It's not bad. It's definitely not like anything I've ever used. I really don't know if that's like more coral than I was bargaining for, or if I rubbed my lips so much that now they're kind of red. I love the finish. I have been into a matte lip lately in a weird way. I don't know why I suddenly am into a matte lip. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. It really is like she combined her Bisou Balm right? The matte lip Bisou Balm with her liquid lipstick that is an infuriating product to work with because it's just so high stakes. And like they just lower the concentration of the pigment is how it feels. And then once it gets on, it is just as drying as the Bisou Balm. Like it is so dry. I mush my lips together and they don't feel crusty, but I feel like we're on our way there, you know? I feel like we're definitely headed there. But it's quite pretty. If you like the Bisou Balm, you will probably like this. The only thing about this versus the Bisou Balm is that it probably has more wear time. The Bisou Balm, it doesn't feel like it ever really bonds with your lips, and this definitely freaking does, you know? I do wish that we had an option that was more nude than that, but it's comfortable enough. And I think that it goes well enough with this look. So me and my full beat, let's go ahead and jump into final thoughts on these products, okay? I feel like as I was talking through the Sarah Creal thing, I was maybe a little too critical just on the basis of like one shade. I'm not sure how many shades she actually added. I do still think that we need more. I just think we need more. I'm so greedy. But no, I mean, it's, you know, it's definitely different. It's definitely a new shade, and it's definitely lighter than the others, and it's definitely a different undertone. I just still think that like we have some work to do. Call me Sarah Creal. We can do this. We can do this together. It could be so much fun. The formula remains incredible. Okay, remains lovely. I still recommend it highly. The main advantage of the HAUS Labs Precision Sculpt Shaping Balm is the shade range. The formula is lovely. It's not my absolute tip-top favorite because it is a little too matte for my taste, and so that matteness did result in it being a little bit patchy on me. It's not a deal breaker by any means. The Dior remains my favorite. The shade that I got that is Angle is a dead ringer for this shade, but this is more product for your money, and I like the way that the formula behaves better than I like this formula. So it's really just about like whether you can find a shade in this, and if not, this is your next best one from a price point standpoint and also from a formula standpoint. The Ciele Blushes, I don't really have any complaints as far as how they pertain to my skin tone. I do have curiosity, let's say, as to whether we have anything that's like saturated and punchy enough for really deep skin tones here. I don't think we're talking about any like super white based opacity, but we might be. You know, I just don't know until I see it on deeper skin whether, you know, this is a really limited range from that standpoint. But I would like to trust Nikki. I mean, she's a very experienced makeup artist that like a lot of these would still do something, but I do feel like we need more depth and we need more saturation in some more shades of these for it to be like a complete thought. But the formula is lovely, and all of my initial fear that like, oh no, this also fades was really about my setting mist. So I'm glad we discovered that together. And then the Plume Lip from Violette FR. I do think that this is lovely for its customer. Violette has such a specific customer. Violette is Violette's customer, okay? She's also, I want to say, still the creative director at Creal. And so it's like, it's kind of like Lisa in the sense that it's like they have their like namesake brand and they get to have so much control over that it's like these formulas that they're really passionate about, and no one's making them kind of like be part of more of a democracy like you would at a larger company like Lancome or Creal. So in this case, it's not like Violette's coming into this being like, I don't know anything about makeup, I just make makeup for me kind of thing. Like she obviously knows a lot about makeup, but her personal line is so much about her brand of wearing makeup. And her brand of wearing makeup is the French girl. And the French girl, as we have talked about so much in the past, the French girl look is very much for high contrast complexions in most cases, and she makes makeup for high contrast complexions. We are not talking about grungy nudes. We are not talking about sheer washes of color in most cases. Her version of effortless is something matte that can be feathered at the edges. It's not something that like blends and looks natural on the skin usually. Like they are color decisions, and this is very much a bunch of color decisions. Do I wish that we had something a little browner? Yeah. Do I wish I had something that was like a little bit easier for me to wear on a regular basis? Yes. I feel like even her version of like a dusty nude is still going to be like caramel on most people. And so it's just a line where like that's the lens that she's looking at things through, and that's why there's a whole world of makeup out there. Just like I am a creator that not everyone can come to my channel channel and expect to see everything that they want to see. I don't come to a brand and expect it to cater specifically to me, every single brand. This is just a brand that doesn't necessarily always cater to me. And for that reason, I'm always excited when I do find something that does, because her formulas are really considered and her packaging is really lovely. I should also say, these have a really soft, almost coconutty smell to them. It doesn't linger at all. Like, I can't smell it right now. I had to open the package to smell it, but you know, some people are really anti that. So quite lovely, very like long wearing and pretty. And if you like the Bisou Balm and you didn't like that it doesn't have as much wear time, you're gonna love this. Thank you for watching me crash through Jamie Genevieve's palette as I tried to slam as many colors on my eyes as possible. I do think that we ended up with something relatively successful today, even if it is entirely incongruous with the rest of my outfit. It doesn't matter. I'm having fun. So anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, please hit that button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. I'll put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you for not making fun of my fingernail. Sorry if that was bugging everybody. Yes, some of the polish came off. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.